Hi, I'm Simone from Sweetheart Cakes and Bakes, and today we're going to be making really delicious and lovely chocolate chip cookies. So let's get started.
Okay, so to make this, what we're going to do is we're going to first cream together our butter and our sugars. I've got half brown sugar, soft brown sugar, and half white granulated sugar, and I'm actually using margarine today instead of butter. So let's go. Okay, so now that that is creamed together quite well, you'll see that it's quite soft here. It's also a brown colour because we've added dark brown sugar. If you don't want to add brown sugar, you can maybe add golden castor sugar to this instead, or you can do it all with white sugar if you prefer. Often I use castor sugar for my recipes, but with this it doesn't really matter, so you can use granulated without a problem. So next we're going to add an egg, and we're also going to add some vanilla flavouring. Now you can use essence, but I'm not really particularly fussed for this recipe. It's just a little background and it's not really the centre stage. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack my egg into a glass first, and then I'm going to add it to my mixture. And the reason that I'm doing this is to make sure that I don't get any shell or anything into my mixture. So the next part is just to add our flour and our chocolate. This is plain flour. I've already added a pinch of salt and half a teaspoon of baking powder to this, sorry, bicarbonate of soda. I'm just going to sieve this in. Okay, so now we're going to add our chocolate chips. Now I have here 200 grams of chocolate and milk, mostly milk to be fair, but a little bit of white in there as well. And you can see here, some of these are whole buttons, but most of these have been broken up. The reason is that if you're using something quite big like this, it makes it harder to shape the balls if you're making smaller balls for the cookies. If they're broken up and they're a little bit smaller, you'll find it a little bit easier. If you've just used a bag of chocolate chips though, you probably won't have a problem. Okay, so that is mixed. What I'm going to do now is put this in the fridge for around about 15 minutes. That's going to allow it to cool, and what it means is when I put them into balls and put them onto the sheet and they go in the oven, they'll hold their shape a little bit better and they won't spread as quickly. So I'll put this in for 15 minutes and then I'll show you when it's done. Okay, so I've just taken my batter out of the fridge. It hasn't got to room temperature or anything like that, and I'm just going to put it straight on the baking sheet and then straight into the oven. I've preheated the oven. I'm going to use 2 spoons to get the batter out. You can use anything you like. Using spoons means that you will get roughly the same size all the way along, which means that they will cook roughly evenly. You can, just completely eyeball it, it's not a problem, but just be careful that some of the bigger ones will cook at a different time to some of the smaller ones. So here we go. All you need to do is get a spoonful and then just place it on the sheet. Make sure you leave a decent amount of space between them to allow for them to spread. But if you make sure that they are a sort of ball shape when you put them on there, they won't spread as far when they're in the oven, and that's really what you want, so you can get a nice thick chewy cookie. Additionally, I'm using spoons to measure mine out. It's quite rough, but it does mean that all of your cookies should be round about the same size. And because they're around about the same size, they take around about the same length of time in the oven to cook. And that's really what you want, because that way you don't end up with some that are overdone and some that are underdone. So after I took the cookies out of the oven, I left them on the baking sheet to cool for around about 10 or 15 minutes. And then I took them off the sheet, put them on a cooling rack and left them for an hour. So now that they're cooked, you can see here they're quite soft underneath. And they're not too thick, they're quite round, they're all around about the same size and they've all got a fairly even distribution of chocolate chips. They're really, really tasty. You can make pretty much any variation that you like of these. And I'll put some tips down below. But have some fun with these. Definitely give them a try. They are absolutely amazing and definitely worth it. Thank you so much for watching.